Fei Jian returned from a wandering world once again, mastering the power to change fate against the heavens. Sacrificing for Kiba in 2 lifetimes, this time holding the sword in hand, once again guarding Kiba and the realm of ninja. Chapter 1. The End of Drifting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The brain storage area, but if there are any unreasonable aspects, I still want to tell the author that the character design of the protagonist in this article is more compassionate and lively than that of the original Hokage protagonist, as he has been around for several lifetimes and is almost a centenarian. Note: any settings that were not mentioned in the original text, if supplemented in this book, will be considered as part of the book's second design. Do not argue about this. I've been here for a long time, spending time together day and night. Whenever I see their smiling faces, I feel like I've returned to that familiar wooden leaf. Fei Jian sighed from the bottom of his heart. Since his sacrifice in the Battle of Golden Horn, his soul has been reincarnated into a wandering world. Here, he also found his home, another leaf of wood, a place where he could dedicate himself everything. Looking solemnly ahead in the doorway. The army of ants in the yamen, with their red armor and heads covered in darkness, was filled with deafening cries. The enemy country's warriors invaded unexpectedly. At this time, most of the warriors in the village had gone to other fronts to fight, leaving almost only an empty city. Behind him lies the lives of countless people and the peace of countless families. Fei Jian couldn't help but clench his knife. He wanted to once again offer his heart and everything for Mu Yi. In his previous life, he sacrificed himself to cover the retreat of the new generation of Kiba, and this time, he also wanted to protect the villagers. Kill it. It's really noisy. Fei Jian pulled out his knife and rushed forward, feeling like Uchiha was facing the ninja army. Both sides of the village gate are steep cliffs, and the enemy can only attack from the front of the gate and confront the front of the gate. A blue lightning bolt rushed into the crowd, still entering an uninhabited realm. In the open door, the hand wielded a knife, flipped up and down, and the enchanting blood bloomed one after another. The cold light of the sword completely illuminated the night sky. Water escape. The art of water bullet. Fei Jian used his long-lost ninjutsu, and a huge water hose crashed straight into the enemy, instantly causing a large area of death and injury. But the other party was not afraid at all, and the crowd surged in waves like a tide. 3 days later Fei Jian exhausted himself and collapsed among the corpses, with scars of varying sizes and depths all over his body. 3 days and 3 nights, with his powerful swordsmanship and ninjutsu, Kazuma killed all 10,000 enemy warriors. The light of dawn shone through the clouds, and although it was a winter morning, the heart felt the immense warmth of the world at this moment. He let the villagers hear no movement for at least 3 days before coming out. With perseverance and faith, he persevered until the end, but unfortunately it was irreparable. He didn't want others to see his final appearance. It seems we can only try that one. After arriving in this world, Fei Jian discovered that the energy system of this world was partially different from the original chakra. The power of this world was more like spiritual energy, a natural energy between heaven and earth. Fei Jian fused this natural energy with his water attribute chakra and soul energy, resulting in something called circulating energy. At present, he has discovered that it can accommodate and harmonize all things, serving as a fusion agent for different energies. He has used circulating energy to harmonize the water attribute chakra and the thunder attribute chakra, merging them into Lan Dun, and even Qin Dun. He also discovered a way to circulate energy. To pull the soul. The circulating energy also integrates the soul energy between the gates, which allows him to use the circulating energy to pull his soul back to his former homeland, but the risk is a bit high. There is a risk of losing his soul, and he has never tried it before. Obviously, it's too late now and we can only resort to this last resort. Fei Jian carefully felt the imprint of the world of his hometown on his soul, and then mobilized all the circulating energy to lead his soul to there, and by the way, extracted some of the circulating energy to reconstruct his body. Give it a try, this is the last resort. Fei Jian muttered helplessly to himself, then closed his eyes. He in this world can never wake up again. The power of circulation drags his soul, and at the same time, scenes of the past flash before his eyes. From birth to death, from the realm of ninja to the world of wandering, although they are all heroic and heroic achievements, the same ending inevitably brings some sorrow. He made up his mind that if he succeeded in reincarnation, he must have the strongest strength to protect all those who needed to be protected. The bright red pupils lost their radiance, and the door temporarily fell asleep. I don't know how long it has been since he opened his eyes again. The scene in front of me has been completely refreshed. Tall trees obscure the sun, and a few beams of sunlight pass through the leaves and stain his face. Beside him, cicadas chirp, the sound of flowing water, the warmth of the world, and the excitement of returning to his homeland. A few rare drops of tears fell in the open room. Perhaps the final chapter of his wandering may have come to an end, but another legend belonging to the second generation of the Fire Shadow Thousand Hand Open Room has opened a new chapter. Chapter 2. Robbed Hinata. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fei Jian had just arrived in this world and didn't know exactly where it was. He could only recognize that this lush vegetation should be the land of fire. Perhaps it was the exhaustion in the room that made him want to relax, and he was too lazy to start sensing and finding his way. Instead, he walked aimlessly and experienced it again. Unconsciously, it was already evening, and the peaceful feeling made the room very relaxed. There's a ninja with a knife in front, maybe it's the intercepting ninja. Kill him, don't affect the progress of the plan. Two ninjas dressed in black conspired, carrying a fainting little girl on their backs. Whoosh, Kuwu was thrown out in an instant, pointing straight at the center of the forehead. The conditional reflex between the gates, with a clang, flew Kuwabeo into the bushes on the right. Immediately after, the bushes suddenly burst into flames and exploded. What a disappointment. Fei Jian looked dissatisfied at the two ninjas and walked straight over, pointing a knife at each other. The two ninjas quickly formed a seal. Lei Dun, Sonda Mu Lu Do, the two of them had lightning shining on their hands, coalescing into lightning balls and throwing them towards the door. The thunderball quickly approached, but Fei Jian didn't even give a straight eye. With just a light wave, the four thunderballs were instantly cut off by sword energy, turning into arcs and slowly dissipating in the air. With a slash between the gates, a cold light flashed on the blade, and even after a distance of more than 10 meters, both heads were instantly cut off by the gates. Fei Jian went to check on the girl and found that her eyes were pure white. Isn't this a white eye? There's no bird imprint on the head yet. Why did the people of the Zong family come here? As I pondered, I heard many people coming over. Hinata. The black-haired man led by him was very excited and rushed forward to embrace the girl. The black-haired man had white eyes and was wearing a wide robe, as if he had just run out of the house in a hurry, followed by a group of ninjas wearing wooden leaf protectors. There is a hidden breath in the door, watching the situation from the tree. This should be the father of that girl. Since the Hinata clan belongs to the Konoha clan, it's a good time to go back with them on the way, thought Ichikawa to himself. After all, Fei Jian's identity was that of a deceased person, so he put on a black robe and followed them back to Muyi. As a second-generation Hokage, the barrier of Konoha was no different from paper to him, and he easily passed through it. Fei Jian stood on the shadow rock of the second-generation Hokage, overlooking the entire wooden leaf. Seeing the village founded by this big brother again, I still feel 1,000 emotions in my heart. Unlike in the past, the wooden leaves were brightly lit, bustling with traffic, and very lively. Everyone's face was filled with a smile. Looking at the neat houses, flat land, beautiful scenery, the elderly and children are all leisurely and happy, the meaning of guarding the house has been found once again in the heart. Everyone hopes for peace at home and a place to return. Muyi is the home of Fei Jian, and as a parent, he naturally wants to protect this home. This time, I won't let others trample on my village, sighed Fei Jian. Mai and Yunin have signed a peace treaty. Come and take a look, shouted the newspaper seller. The monkey did a good job managing the wooden leaves in an orderly manner. It's not wrong to see that I passed the throne to him back then. At this moment, Fei Jian had already arrived on the street and saw the prosperous scene. He nodded in satisfaction, but it seemed that he had not seen the Qianshou tribe members appear. He still decided to look for his disciple. Chapter 3. Weakness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was still easy to pass through layers of barriers between the gates and arrived at the Huiying building without any obstacles. He deliberately concealed his figure and breath, almost indistinguishable from invisibility. Just as he was about to push away from the entrance of the Huiying office, he suddenly heard the conversation inside. What does monkey flying sun slaying you mean? Our village came to sign a peace treaty with you, but you actually killed our ninjas. You are really deceiving people too much. You must hand over the murderer to us, otherwise, wait for the two countries to go to war. Yuan Fury's face turned black, but there was nothing he could do. I will definitely punish the murderer severely, hoping that this will not damage the friendly relationship between our two countries. The two ninjas from Yunin village walked away with high toes and arrogance, thinking that Ape Fei would curse a few words, but the result was. Send the son to Sungay and come to him if you need anything. Yuan Fury said to the secret forces beside him. After the dark department left, he muttered to himself, if there's really no other way, I might have to do something wrong to your tribe. He sighed as he finished speaking. After hearing this, Fei Jian's lungs were almost bursting with anger. This was not just about kicking his nose and face, but also about this Tai Sui's head breaking. How can I teach this kind of thing myself? If even the villagers cannot protect the shadow of my well, then it is not worthy to sit in this position. The door slammed open in anger, pulling off his robe and staring at the ape flying. Teacher. Monkey Flying Sun slashed his eyes wide open, thinking they were getting angry, and couldn't help but rub them. I have heard all the conversation just now. For some reason, when I came to this world again, Yunin was already so arrogant. Do you still have the courage to be a Hokage and the determination to protect the villagers? Said Fei Jian coldly. Teacher, I. Ape Fei stood up, propped up the table, but his mouth stuttered, as if he had stuffed a cloth or something stuck. His wide mouth suddenly closed, his face solemn. Who are you and why do you pretend to be a teacher? Perhaps it was due to the fear that Ape Flying Sun Zhan had always felt towards Kazuma, or the guilt he felt towards the thousand-armed clan. Just now, the cunning Ape Flying Sun Zhan surprisingly believed in Kazuma's identity without any evidence. Ape Flying Sun slowly took off his Hokage robe. This domineering and powerful chakra felt like the second generation. The more his chakra looked like the second generation, the more dignified Ape Flying became. Because this indicates that his transformation technique is really excellent, even a strong person of his level cannot find any flaws. He himself must be strong. I will go to the Kingdom of Thunder to demand an explanation, and then come back to settle the accounts. Also, return my Thunder God sword to me. Upon hearing this, Monkey Flying came towards the Thunder God sword. Your transformation technique is indeed very powerful, but I am not a child. If you want to obtain the Thunder God sword, at least pass my level first. Let's go fight outside. Fei Jian also went out with Ape Fei and taught him a lesson. They arrived at a training ground, and Ape Fei carefully teleported out of the ape demon. We're ready, old buddy. Monkey Demon transformed into a golden cudgel, and Monkey Fei held it with both hands, observing the cracks in the door. Suddenly, Kuwu was thrown out of the gate and flew straight towards the ape. Even with such poor throwing skills, how dare you call yourself a second-generation fighter? Ape Fei smiled disdainfully at the arrival of the bitter one and dodged with one side of his head. You, like him, trust your own eyes too much. Before Monkey Fei could understand the meaning behind this sentence, a cold touch came from his neck. The knife in Fei Jian has already been placed on his neck. The art of flying thunder god. Monkey Flying Sun / had to believe in this identity. There are only 2 people who can use the thunder god technique in Konoha, but other possibilities cannot be ruled out. At this time, Ape Fei's suspicion is still very heavy, but the strength of this Kazuma is too strong. Before understanding his purpose, Ape Fei temporarily revived him as Kazuma. The 2 of them returned to the office. Monkey Flying Sun / heard that Fei Jian was going to help Mu Yi, and his heart was filled with joy. This indicates that Fei Jian's heart is towards Mu Yi, and Lei Ying is probably going to be severely tortured. A smile couldn't help but appear on the corner of Ape Fei's mouth. Counting this achievement on his own, he will definitely receive the love and respect of the villagers in Mai. After Monkey flew back to the Hokage office, he quickly took out a knife from a nearby drawer, Japanese swords do not distinguish, raised his head, and handed it over. Fei indirectly came over and said, "Why haven't I even seen the Chinsho tribe?" The Monkey Flying Sun / instantly exploded with pressure, sweating profusely. Without hesitation, he said, "They have all gone to carry out the mission." Out of trust in his former disciple, Fei Jian temporarily believed in him. The Thunder God's sword is forged from chakra metal, and Fei Jian felt that this sword was not suitable for the wandering swordsmanship and energy transfer, so he decided to use it for reforging. Tell Ape Fei to help forge the Thunder God's sword into a new sword. After everyone's discussion, it was decided to let Fei Jian and Ri Zhu leave the village together, so that they could easily enter the interior of Yunin. Moreover, if there were any ulterior motives over there, they would definitely kill them completely. With his 2 generations of combat experience and the fusion of the blood inheritance limit, Fei Jian has definitely reached the level of Super Shadow. Even if one person simultaneously faces the 8-tailed pillar power and thunder shadow of Zhan Yunin, he still has a great chance of winning. The last time he was killed by Yunin, this time it was Yunin who came to find fault and avenged both old and new enemies. Fei Jian's face showed an uncontrollable anger. After changing into their former blue armor, the few of them set off directly for Yunin. "Wait for me now, Lei Ying." Fei Jian couldn't help but grip the knife again. Ape Flying Sun Zhan looked at the back of the group in the gate, feeling mixed with emotions. He was conflicted about the resurrection of the gate. He felt happy about his former master's resurrection and worried about the position of Hokage. Ape Fei shook his head and knocked on the table twice, and in an instant, a dark spot appeared next to him. "Bring a team of people to follow them. If they are in danger, kill them directly. Don't let Yunin village obtain any intelligence from Mu Yi. Also, help me call Tuanzang and say I have something to look for him." "Yes." Chapter 4. Yun Yin's Conspiracy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone has been on their way these days. The surrounding forest began to gradually become sparse, with towering peaks looming ahead. After arriving in the Kingdom of Thunder, the mountain peaks rose up like Optimus Prime, soaring into the sky. When they arrived at Yunin village, everyone sighed at the huge gap. No wonder everyone wants to make wooden leaves, not because they are so good, but because everyone is too poor and the terrain is getting worse and worse. Dark clouds covered the dome, and occasionally a few thunderbolts accompanied by a roar swept through the sky. The strong wind swept across the ground, causing sand and stones to roll and dry grass to rustle. It looked like the mountain rain is about to come, and the wind fills the building. Yun Yin's thoughts, as everyone understands, are nothing more than greedy blood to inherit the limit. This time, Yun Yin is determined to win. Except for the open room, everyone felt a bit uneasy, and the closer they got to the agreed location, the more nervous they became. Although Ape Flying Sun / assured them that there would be no problem, his words had long lost credibility. Most of them were out of trust in the second-generation Hokage, the powerful and wise general of Kiba. With the legendary ninja on the side, everyone could feel a little more at ease. At this moment, in the office of Lei Ying instructed his subordinates. Prepare 100 ninjas and go with me. They dare not play any tricks. Ape Flying is just an old monkey who only knows how to play politics. If he really dares to play other games with me, it will be a matter of minutes to hit the wooden leaves. He cannot bear this responsibility. Quickly, 100 ninjas gathered together, following the thunderous shadow, and arrived at the appointment with great momentum. A smile had already appeared on his face, as if Yunin had become the first ninja village, which was tomorrow's event. Fei Jian put on a robe, and he didn't want to make the information of resurrection public so early. He looked at the Yunin team ahead, his bright red eyes showing an increasingly fierce killing intent. Finally, the two sides faced off. Hurry up and hand over the bastard who killed the ninja in our village. Yunin was the first to speak up and take the shameless approach to the extreme. He also said that if he doesn't make friends, he will flip the wooden leaves upside down. Go to the front of the team. What kind of miscellaneous hair are you? Lei Ying shouted arrogantly. In an instant, chakra erupted in the doorway, mixed with circulating energy. The powerful aura and sense of oppression echoed on the field, even the dark clouds on the sky were shaken open. Some people were directly stunned, domineering, and a cold sweat seeped from Lei Ying's forehead. He thought to himself, it's so difficult to be ruthless like Mu Yi at this time. Why didn't he have his name before? Everyone realized that this might be a hard nut to crack. Fei Jian happened to come out this time to try the fusion of Lan Dun. In Yunin, Shui Dun was restrained by their Lei Dun, but Lan Dun couldn't. As a man known as the water god, Fei Jian possessed the characteristic of easy water control, and becoming a Lan Dun master was just a matter of effortlessness. It's your Yunin village who came to find fault. We came here to demand compensation, not to escort the prisoners, said Fei Jian. Lei Ying became angry, and both sides knew that a fierce battle was inevitable. However, Yunin was a bit hesitant. What gave Mu Yi so much courage? But after all, there are only a dozen or so people on the other side, and there are thunder shadows and hundreds of ninjas on their side. The other side is just saying hello. Lei Ying activated the Thunder Dun chakra mode, and the battle was imminent. Far away in the leaves of wood. Monkey Fly, what did you call me to come here for? Tuanzang asked the monkey flying son / with a stern expression. The two met in the basement, one wearing a royal robe and looking like a kind old man. One half of his body was wrapped in bandages and looked very cold. It's hard to imagine these two people being friends. The teacher has been resurrected and he came to find me. His chakra and flying thunder skills have made me temporarily believe in his identity, but after all, he is resurrected from death, which is unbelievable and I am not sure. As one of the teacher's disciples, I am also here to ask you today. Tuanzang instinctively touched the bandage on his left eye. He must not be the teacher has already died. Ape Flying, you actually believe this reason. It seems that Huiying needs someone with more insight to take on the responsibility. After hearing this, Monkey Flying son / didn't take it seriously and helped the Fire Shadow Hat. I allow you to send Zhen to monitor his every move on a regular basis this time. After listening to this, Tuanzang also began to fantasize about beauty. If he discovered the flaws of this spy, he would expose him and let the people of Kiba know that Tuanzang was powerful. In this way, becoming Hokage was just around the corner. Okay. Tuanzang showed a rare smile. They are currently handling the matter of Yunin village. You can send someone over when they come back. Tuanzang nodded. Chapter 5. Battle of Landslides and Earthquakes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ah. Lei Ying was wrapped in a blue chakra and was surrounded by a faint arc. Her bronze muscles bulged almost together, like a fierce beast. Lei Ying suddenly jumped out, leaving only a crack on the ground, and then a blue figure rushed straight towards the door. Lei Ying made a knife-like move and fiercely swung downwards with a loud bang. With such a powerful and heavy blow, the mountain collapsed and the ground cracked. Fei Jian quickly jumped away. It seemed that Lei Ying was not an ordinary person, so he made a seal with both hands. Lan done. Black Dragon Bullet Technique. The ground around the door began to surge with ink like water, and upon closer inspection, a dark thunder surged in the water. The black water gradually formed a hideous dragon head behind the door, making a crackling sound, and the field was actually covered by shadows. Everyone couldn't help but be surprised. Some people were surprised by the grandeur of ninjutsu in Kagami, but Lei Ying was even more surprised by his Lan done. How could this guy have Lan done? This person must not leave. Just as Lei Ying finished thinking, the black dragon head had already arrived. Lei Ying used all her strength and bounced out of the range of the black dragon bullet. But his remaining subordinates are not doing well. Ah. The tide that turned the dragon head into black rushed towards the ninjas in Yunin, causing a series of screams on the field. Countless people convulsed in the water, then fell to the ground unconscious. You bastard! Lei Ying's eyes were about to crack, and he rushed forward again to fight against Fei Jian. Draw a sword in the open room to fight. The two of them came and went, and the sound of swords colliding with the metal wristbands of Thunder Shadow was resounding. Ah! Thunder, I'll explode! Lei Ying took a few steps back, let out a loud shout, and then rushed forward. He used the technique of shadow clone in the door, leaving a clone in place. Lei Ying didn't react and rushed straight over. I caught you. Morata. Lei Ying grabbed the shadow clone in the doorway and jumped up to smash it downwards. In an instant, the earth shook, sand and stones rolled, and the earth trembled. Cracks continued to extend, and in the end, several deep and bottomless cracks appeared on the ground. What a sluggishness! Opening the door. Lei Ying just realized that what he had just fallen was a shadow clone from the door. Damn it! Lei Ying hammered towards the nearby stone wall, which immediately shattered into small and large stones. But you won't be arrogant anymore soon. The fighting just now was too intense. This is my territory. My reinforcements are coming soon. Lei Ying sneered. With the joint efforts of our AB brothers, you have no chance of winning. After hearing this, Fei Jian disdainfully pointed his knife at him. Which adult would expect a child's challenge? One sentence directly broke through Lei Ying's defense, but Lei Ying dared not act rashly. At this moment, he had to wait for reinforcements to arrive. As a person with both intelligence and combat power, Fei Jian naturally wouldn't give him a chance like a fool. Thunder done. Hard Vortex Thunder Blade. After developing the circulating energy, Fei Jian easily mastered all attributes of ninjutsu, and completing the Thunder Shadow version of the Hard Vortex Water Blade was just a piece of cake. Thunder and lightning entwined around the hands of the door, and the blue light became increasingly dazzling. The sound of electricity emitted was like 1,000 birds chirping. In the end, the lightning formed a lightning javelin in the hand of Fei Jian, emitting a sharp roar. Lei Ying's expression was solemn as he suddenly appeared behind him. The art of flying thunder god, Lei Ying was frightened and sweated profusely. What, when? But I can't wait for Fei Jian to take action yet. Big brother, I'm here. Virtual Dog Cannon. Chapter 6. Reinforcement. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chilabai saw that his big brother was almost gone, so he decisively opened up. Directly used the tail beast to release the virtual dog cannon. In the blink of an eye, the black shockwave approached Fei Jian, who quickly used the technique of flying thunder god to dodge. Everyone in Yunin village is speculating about the identity of Fei Jian. Huilan Dun, also able to fly thunder god. Do people like this really exist in the realm of ninja? You bastard, dare to harm my big brother. I must know how to deal with you. Kilabi used the wild felt heron saber. He is like a martial arts performance, dancing and waving 7 knives to attack. Each blade accurately attacks the vital points of the gate. Fei Jian did not lose the wind at all, and his 2 Tai Dao swords were playing like tigers and tigers. Fei Jian controlled the rhythm, like a wolf playing for thousands of hours. Every time Chilabai tried to hit him, he could always perfectly bounce his knife open. Over time, Kurabi's hands gradually became numb. Upon seeing the situation in the doorway, he used the wandering knife technique. Yen Hui, the door rises into the air, and the knife rotates in the air with its body. Kurabi's hand was instantly bounced open, revealing a flaw in him. The killing intent of Fei Jian reached its peak, and the knife emitted an orange glow. He stood up in a daze and swiftly chopped towards Kurabi with lightning speed. Kilabaton felt uncomfortable and used his tentacles to hold the remaining knife on his chest, but he still underestimated the power of the knife. Amazing speed. After being struck by Fei Jian, he continued to accelerate, and Chilabai's knife, which was placed on his chest, was pushed into the flesh, oozing fresh red blood. The door kept moving forward, pushing Kurabi to constantly shatter the stone wall. Ah, ah, ah. Chilabai screamed in pain, his hands almost exhausted but unable to relax for a moment. If he relaxes, he will probably become a stranger directly. With a single strike, Fei Jian took Chilabai and cut through half of the small hill. Kurabi knelt on the ground, his back already worn out and covered in blood. Lei Ying was very heartbroken. If she had known earlier, she wouldn't have been greedy for bloodstains in her eyes. He gestured for Bai to use full-tailed beast-like design to see if he could use his large body size to limit the space between the gates. Chilabai understood and saw the huge octopus feet surging out of his body, waving their teeth and claws towards the door. Let's go together, little 8. Fei Jian looked at this huge object, but there was no waves in his heart. These things were just toys in front of his elder brother's hands. It's just a small trick like carving insects. The art of water hammer. Water splashes began to float on the knife in the open space, gradually forming a small dragon head on the tip of the knife. Then, like chopping melons and vegetables, he cut off those tentacles. He jumped up, and the dragon head on the knife began to grow larger, forming a dragon head of more than 10 meters. With a bang, he knocked the 8 tails unconscious. My little brother. Lei Ying pretended to cry out in sorrow. Fei Jian thought that Chilabai had lost his combat ability and slightly relaxed his guard. But at this moment, Lei Ying showed a smile of successful strategy. At the next moment, an octopus with 8 tails transformed into the shape of Kurabi, and they wanted to kill him instantly before Kazuma could react. Lei Ying and Kurabi increased their speed to maximum and made a sound of breaking through the air. Thunderstorm level Millennium Dance. Let's take a look at our AB brothers' passionate combination skills. Lei Ying and Kurabi each reached out a hand and wrapped their heads around the door. Don't embarrass yourself anymore. Don't you understand? Fei Jian shook his head and shouted loudly. Shui done, the water tap bites and explodes. Chapter 7. Defeats. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A huge waterspout rose up from the perimeter of the door, which prevented Kurabi and Raikage from further attacking. As the water hose grew larger and larger, the two of them retreated inch by inch. Lei Ying's veins were bulging all over, and his face turned red. He stepped on the ground and tried hard to resist, but even though his feet had already stepped into the ground, he couldn't stop his retreat. The water hose exploded and the two were directly pushed to the ground. Suddenly, a huge water ball appeared above, and Kurabi and Rage were stunned for a moment. 2 giant dragons emerged from the water ball. Hurry up, Bibi. Before Lei Ying could finish speaking, 2 faucets bit at one person. I'm going to kill you. Lei Ying felt all his internal organs being crushed by the water tap, causing unbearable pain and blood flowing everywhere. Chilabai beside him fainted directly. There are no 5 major villages in the ninja realm, and it has always been just Kiba. You are just dogs left behind by Big Brother's leniency. If Big Brother has the belief in unifying the ninja realm, who among you, a group of rabble, can stop Kiba's footsteps? The door walked towards the thunder shadow and slowly opened its mouth. Big Brother has died, and I have also died. Now that I am a new person, I no longer need to adhere to Big Brother's beliefs. Giving you benefits will only end up as a revenge. It's ridiculous to use the tail beast, Muyi, to beat the tail beast with it. Your younger brother will go to Muyi to collect his tail beast, and you probably won't be able to collect his body for him either. Lei Ying looked incredulous. Are you 1,000 hands and 1,000 hands? Aren't you already dead in the battle of tolerance? You don't have a chance to ask. Fei Jian cut off Lei Ying's neck with a knife, and in order to prevent others from being reborn in filth, he didn't even leave his body behind. Yun Yin's army watched the battle for a long time, but not a single one dared to take action. They knew that in such a level of battle, going would only result in death, and going back now would also result in death. Although they are very sad and angry now, they are powerless. Your village is waiting for the collection of wooden leaves. Fei Jian shouted to them. The door closed its knife and signaled the stunned crowd to return to the village. Let's go. The ninjas of Kiba finally realized and bound Kurabi and Kagami back together. During this period, Hinata was even more grateful all the way, saying that Kazuma saved his life and saved the entire Hinata family. Fei Jian said these were just a simple gesture. After returning to the wooden leaf, the first thing that Fei Jian did was to go to the blacksmith's shop and see if the knife was forged properly. Sir, take a look. The blacksmith handed the knife to the door. The scabbard of the knife is dark red, and the handle is as black as ink. The overall shape of the blade is a faint blue color, giving people a cold and deadly feeling, which is in line with the usual cold temperament of Fei Jian. There are many interlaced crystal patterns on the blade. After taking his hand, Fei Jian tried to inject circulating energy into the knife. He felt that it matched perfectly with the circulating energy, so he asked the knife maker. What other materials did you add when forging the knife? I have added meteorites and sea crystals that are only found in the depths of the sea, replied the swordsman. Really, I see. Fei Jian could hardly control his desire to wield his knife, as he was in someone else's shop and could only make gestures. However, at this moment, the dark side suddenly reported and asked Fei Jian to see the monkey flying sun slaying. At this moment, Ape Fei was pacing back and forth in the office, unsure if he wanted to tell Fei about the loss of his 1,000 hands. After careful consideration, he decided to tell Fei Jian so that he could test his reaction. Similarly, he is becoming increasingly wary of Fei Jian now, and someone who can beat Lei Ying like this has fully developed the ability to threaten himself. His guard became even heavier, but he dared not show it, fearing that another battle would unfold, and Kiba could no longer bear it. It's better to die than to die, why return to the human world? The monkey flying sun beheaded and gazed at the sky, muttering meaningfully to himself. Chapter 8. Truth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Arriving at the office, I saw Ape Flying Sun sweating profusely, as if about to say something. Monkey, do you remember to arrange for someone to join the cloud-hidden village? Also, what's going on? What do you want to say? Fei Jian asked directly. Teacher, that. Actually, the 1,000-handed clan has already integrated into the Konoha crowd, so you haven't even seen it. Ape Fury buried his head low, like a child who had made a mistake. Fei Jian is a clever person who can tell the meaning of the monkey flying sun at a glance. Why do Uchiha and Hinata intermarry within their respective clans and rarely marry other members of the village? It is because both families must ensure the purity of their bloodline. Marriage between the Qianshou tribe and ordinary people will only lead to increasingly thin bloodlines, ultimately causing the Qianshou tribe to completely disappear into the realm of ninja. Why did the monkey flying sun/do this? It's because he's afraid that the thousand-handed clan, who are at the height of the sun, will take away his position as the fire shadow. The thought of this made Fei Jian even more furious. I thought to myself that I have been wandering for over a decade, and you stole it from my house. Fei Jian's face was filled with anger, showing an uncontrollable killing intent. You haven't told anyone about my resurrection, have you? Fei Jian asked. No, absolutely not. Ape Flying Sun quickly shook his head. That's good, because those who know I'm resurrected have already died. Fei Jian grabbed Ape Flying Sun's shoulder, and the next second, they had already appeared on the training ground. I won't hold back, monkey. Come and fight me with the determination to kill me, I'll just try my knife. Fei Jian is looking forward to the performance of a large amount of weapon attachment and circulation power. Monkey, I'm going up. A dazzling orange light emanated from the blade of the door. Fei Jian felt the powerful energy attached to the knife and couldn't help but nod. Fire escape, fire dragon bullet art, water escape, water tap bullet art, earth escape. Earth dragon bullet art. Ape Flying Sun releases a mixed dragon shell to attack. Do you look down on me so much? Gently lifting up the door, the orange sword energy slashed forward. The mixed ninjutsu of Monkey Flying Sun was easily split open by sword energy, passing by on both sides of the body in the open space, but could not wipe a single strand of hair in the open space. Teacher, I surrender. At this moment, Monkey Flying Sun had already knelt down, hoping to strike lightly in his heart. As soon as Fei Jian went up, he kicked Ape Fei fiercely and slapped him hard, directly knocking down an old sun/fan to the ground. Get up. Now, besides playing some political tricks, what else do you know? As Laying said, you're just an old monkey. Ape Flying Sun's cheeks turned red on both sides, like a monkey's butt, but he obediently got up and received another round of beating from Fei Jian. It wasn't until a long time that Fei Jian finally stopped. What about Xiao Gang? Fei Jian looked at Ri Zhan with a murderous gaze. She's my disciple, she's just traveling outside now, okay? Take me to find her. After leaving a sentence, Fei Jian went to have lunch first. Hand beating, give me a bowl of porridge boned lammy and noodles. He was momentarily stunned by the hand strike, and others either called him Uncle Hand Strike or Uncle Yile. It's been a long time since anyone called him that name. Looking at the man wearing a black robe in front of me, I felt familiar, but I didn't know who it was. With the concept of treating customers equally, my face quickly appeared. At this moment, a pitiful little boy with blonde hair walked into the door. Report, the target task is approaching human pillar strength. Chapter 9. Demon Fox, Disciple. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Naruto entered, some customers left cursing and didn't understand why Uncle Yile would let this demon fox come to the store. But Uncle Yile is very protective of Naruto. If you don't want to eat, don't eat. All the guests here are the same. Naruto was very moved. He wanted to order a bowl of lammy and noodles but had no money. I'll treat you. At this moment, Fei Jian spoke up, and he most likely guessed that the little boy was Zhu Li, the person of Mu Yi. Ren Zhu has been living a very difficult life, and naturally, Fei Jian does not want to see anyone living in pain in the village, let alone heroes who sacrificed for Mu Yi. In Fei Jian's heart, he even had the idea of accepting him as his disciple. Naruto looked at Kazuma with his eyes open and choked up, saying, "Thank you, uncle. You are so kind to me." Soon, Naruto's barbecued lammy and noodles was also served. I'm moving. Naruto wolfed down his food and couldn't help but ask little Naruto. Child, what is your ideal? Oh, I want to be the Hokage and make the whole village recognize me. Upon hearing Naruto's answer, Fei Jian felt a bit dazed, as if he had seen the shadow of his elder brother on him. This made his desire to accept apprentices even stronger. Do you have a teacher? Of course there are, teachers Iruka and Mizuki. Do you have a master? Naruto fell silent and shook his head. I am a demon fox, and everyone rejects me, except for teacher Iruka and Grandpa Hokage. You are the third person who does not reject me. Is that right? There is a thought in the open door. But I still decided to speak a bit abruptly. Do you want to worship me as your teacher? Naruto was taken aback for a moment, and then tears fell down like a string of pearls with a broken string. Really, really? You're not joking with me, are you? Fei Jian nodded solemnly. I will also let you have 1 happy ramen noodles for 3 meals a day. Naruto quickly nodded. Master. Naruto kowtowed directly to Kazuma in front of everyone. From childhood to adulthood, this is the first time Naruto has felt recognition and acceptance from others. Although the two were strangers who met for the first time, Naruto felt that there was a very friendly feeling on Kazuma's body, like a family member he had never met before. What bad intentions does a person who is willing to accept themselves have? What value does being a demon fox have? So Naruto without hesitation paid his respects to his teacher. Okay, hahaha. Fei Jian smiled heartily, touching Naruto's golden hair. Now Naruto has become the junior brother of Ape Flying Sun / and I don't know how Ape Flying Sun / will feel. Fei is a disciple of Kaijian, Zilai is also a disciple of Fei, and Shuemen is also a disciple of Zilai. In terms of seniority, Naruto became Jiraiya's senior uncle and his father's ancestral uncle, completely chaotic. What's your name? Fei Jian asked his disciple's name after finishing his collection. Naruto Vortex. The man who is about to become Hokage. Naruto, why don't you go find someone with your master after finishing your noodles? Okay. Naruto agreed without even thinking about it. I didn't expect someone to finally accept Naruto, Handa thought to himself as he watched the scene without speaking. After finishing the meal, Fei Jian left a note for Ape Fei. Naruto, I will take him as my disciple. From now on, he will be your junior brother. We will set out now to find Xiaojiang. I can sense Xiaojiang's blood vessels, don't worry, we will be back soon. After finishing their meal, the two of them walked straight towards the gate of the wooden leaf. I feel like I have a grandson and everyone has become kind. Fei Jian guessed that Gangzhou probably inherited his big brother's terrible gambling skills, but at the same time, he also inherited his big brother's personality of being both greedy and playful. I hope she doesn't owe too much, otherwise she won't be able to repay him enough. Xiaojiang. Gangzhou is the granddaughter of the eldest brother, and as the second grandfather, Fei Jian also loves Gangzhou very much. Having bid farewell to this world for so long, Tsunade has grown from the cute little girl of the past to one of the 3 ninjas of Kiba. Now that Kazuma is going to meet the only surviving family member, his mood is also rare to be excited, and his red eyes reveal a rare tenderness. Ape Flying Sun / he has already begun to approach the human pillar power and has even taken him as an apprentice. What if he has ulterior motives? Do you think your pitiful will of fire and these few pitiful bonds can keep him? Give him to me, and I promise to cultivate a war machine that satisfies you. The monkey Flying Sun / shook its head. He is the son of Shuemen, and I will definitely not hand him over to the root. As for the teacher, let's take a look first. Apes flying and sun slaying, you will regret it. Enough of Tuanzang, I am the Hokage. After finishing speaking, Tuanzang slammed the door heavily and left. Chapter 10. For Generations of Fire Shadow. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Do you know, Lumaru, I have a master now. Alright, I'm so annoyed. You've been talking all day. Naruto was very excited and spread the word everywhere with acquaintances, causing him to argue with Lumaru for a long time. It's really rare, you actually have a master too. Who is he? Rimuru and Naruto lay together on the lawn, holding a piece of grass in their mouths. Naruto extended his hand towards the blue sky. Humph, my master is very mysterious. He always wears a black robe and doesn't let me tell anyone his true identity. Don't let anyone deceive you. Rimuru looked at Naruto with a speechless expression on his face. Alright, I'm going to share it with Grandpa 3 Hokage. Naruto left with a smile on his face. Monkey Flying Sun monitored Naruto through the crystal ball, thinking about how to instill the will of fire in him later. However, for someone like Monkey Flying who brainwashes others every day, it's not too simple. After thinking about it, he switched the image of the crystal ball into a mist. Grandpa Huaying, omit sharing, Naruto pushed open the door, and Ape Flying Sun quickly collected the crystal ball. Staring solemnly at Naruto. Oh, it's like this. Naruto found his master, that's really impressive. Your master is a formidable person. Naruto nodded, and Fei's words changed. But Naruto, you must never forget the will of fire. You must not forget this village. You must remember that the power you gain from learning from your apprenticeship is to protect the village. Those with power are to protect the weak, and the strong should swing their swords towards the stronger. Although Fei himself did not do it, he still earnestly advised Naruto. I got it. Naruto showed a big smile. Kazuma gave Naruto a day to bid farewell to his friends, and by this time the sun had set in the western mountains. The distant horizon seemed to be burning, and the two of them turned around to look at the village gate. Let's go. The two searched between various casinos, while Kazuma taught Naruto while searching for Tsunade. In his previous life, he was an apprentice to Kazuma. Kazuma probably taught you ninjutsu, but after a lifetime of wandering, Kazuma clearly showed a greater interest in teaching swordsmanship. Naruto, if you chop faster, the force is not strong enough. Fei Jian gave serious guidance on Naruto training. Got it. When will we be able to find that grandmother Gangso? Although Kazuma brought Naruto out to find Tsunade, it was also to train Naruto in swordsmanship. For Naruto, if he finds Tsunade one day later, he will have to endure another day of hellish training. However, Fei Jian discovered that Naruto was very talented in playing swords. Perhaps he didn't use swords before to give Sasuke some self-esteem. Naruto, for so many days now, I have been training you in basic skills. Although your foundation is not yet solid enough, considering your talent and intelligence, I will teach you a ninjutsu move. Flying Thunder God / Wow, what's that? It sounds so cool. Naruto was eager to give it a try, but Fei Jian knew that this guy inside his belly would probably not allow Naruto to learn smoothly. Naruto, please wait a moment. I'll go see the fox first, so that you can learn ninjutsu better. Fei Jian placed his hand on Naruto's belly, and with a movement of his mind, he entered Naruto's spiritual space. Mito, as the sister-in-law of Kazuma, Kazuma must have learned a few moves from this master of sealing techniques, making it relatively easy to enter Naruto's spiritual space. The dark dungeon was very damp, and the ground was filled with water. Looking at the yellowed walls around, the door knew it had been successful. He activated chakra perception and slowly approached the ominous and evil chakra. Bang! 9-tailed claws suddenly slammed towards the huge iron cage door, revealing 2 huge eyeballs, 2 slender and eerie pupils, and then half of the orange-red massive body appeared. Human. How did you get here? 9-tailed grinned, but the door remained cold. You don't need to know, but you need to understand the relationship between the king and the mount. Don't be too arrogant. What do you mean, you bastard? Fei Jian didn't speak. Although he had just met, he decided to beat Jiuwei severely for the sake of his disciple's future, so that he could speak better in the future. Fei Jian used Shui Dun to lift himself up, slowly approaching the seal, and then directly tore it off, slowly turning the switch. A yellow flash flashed by, instantly holding onto the door and taking him into a ray of sunshine. Son. Shuemen and Fei Jian looked at each other, both of them confused. Second-generation adults. How could you be here? I have been resurrected for some reason, and now Naruto is my disciple. I will help him solve the Nine Tails problem. Who are you? I think your teleportation skills have surpassed mine. Shuemen, a natural stunner, immediately believed in the identity of Kazuma and pointed to the fourth-generation Hokage god robe behind him. Well, I'll call Naruto over and talk to you. I have to say, your whole family is heroes. Naruto was pulled in by Kazuma at this moment. Master. Who is this big brother with yellow hair? Naruto stared at Shuemen with a puzzled expression on his face. Shuemen was also very puzzled. His son didn't know who he was, and Fei Jian was also full of question marks. He didn't know the father and son, but he still spoke first. Naruto is your father, the fourth generation Eye of Hokage.